What is currently happening, programs? Welcome to The Grid, where I'll be bringing you this week's news in VR. It's Friday, the 31st of March 2017, and all I can say this week is, 'tis a sad day, but VR will live on. We've got Luckey stepping down from Oculus, Ghostbusters in VR, Vive content for the Ready Player One movie, a Wilson's Heart release date, price and estimated playtime, First Contact updated, Oculus Home updated, and price drops on the Rift headset and games as the CV1 hits the 1 year mark, and more. Today I'm going to cover off the main events to keep you in the loop, so stay locked, crush that like button, enjoy, and welcome to The Grid. What is currently happening, YouTube? Facepalm here, your friend in Oz and NZ, bringing you reviews, tutorials and game clips, minus the shit. You can follow me on Twitter at Facepalm with a 1, not an L. As for here on YouTube, if you like what you find, then like, comment and subscribe. Don't forget to bring your game face. Let's get it done. So I want to start by addressing the news you've all likely heard by now, and that is that the co-founder of Oculus, and let's face it, the main reason we have the Rift right now, Luckey, has left Facebook, which means he will no longer be a part of Oculus. And regardless of how self-inflicted this eventual outcome was, this still makes me a bit sad. And I do feel for the guy because he's done a lot for VR and he's done it with passion. But at the end of the day, this isn't really a surprise given the past 12 months of his life on Reddit, Twitter, and on the political front, and the public message sent out by Oculus which reads, Palmer's legacy extends far beyond Oculus. His inventive spirit helped kickstart the modern VR revolution and build an industry. We're thankful for everything he did for Oculus and VR, and we wish him all the best. Now, this is exactly the type of message I've seen before when people have been politely requested to leave. Whatever the situation though, I wish him all the best, and I hope he continues to innovate and resurfaces at some stage. Though in what capacity I don't know, because no doubt he'll be under some kind of agreement with Facebook about keeping quiet on this matter. Moving on, in the gaming world though, for anyone that's ever wanted to cross the streams, Ghostbusters VR Now Hiring has been released as a short experience on the PSVR and is available right now on the PlayStation Store for $6.99 US. The experience has received mixed reviews, with the general consensus being that it's great initially, but there are some bugs, and the fact that it costs $6.99 for a 10-minute experience is a bit steep. Apart from that though, our favourite delusional plate-eating green ball of slime is there, as well as a spectral guide called Moogly. The current release is marked as Act 1 Firehouse, which suggests there will be future installments of the experience, though there are no details on how many there will be or where the story will go. And I may not be afraid of no ghost, but I'm definitely left anxious by no further details. And the price tag, if that's what it costs per episode. Regardless of that, if you're game, grab your ghost busting pack and your junk and go get slimed. And also on the movie buzz, HTC has announced this week that it is exclusively partnered with Warner Brothers to release VR content for the upcoming Steven Spielberg movie Ready Player One, which is based on the best-selling book and a personal favourite of mine by Ernest Cline. The movie is set for release in March of 2018, and the content that accompanies it will apparently consist of both game and experience content, and will be available on Viveport, which is HTC's storefront version of Oculus Home, but for the Vive. The content is also likely to support all major HMDs, including the Rift, and this should be great to help bridge the gap for VR adaptations of movies in general to further expand the mainstream reach of this type of content in the future. I do feel that Oculus dropped the ball on this one a little though, because if there was one book to movie adaptation to back up with VR content, then surely Ready Player One would be the one you would go into a bidding war for. Some have pointed out that considering the Chinese market is a huge growth area for both VR and Hollywood productions, partnering with HTC, who would have a greater foothold in the Chinese market thanks to their Taiwanese roots, and have less regulatory pressures when compared to their American counterpart Facebook, that this partnership with HTC does make a lot of sense. Me, I don't really care, as long as it benefits VR as a whole at this early stage, and I can experience this content in my Rift. But I'd really like to hear your thoughts on this one down in the comments also, so hit me up there. And finally, Twisted Pixel Studios have given Wilson's Heart an actual release date, price, and estimated playtime. The black and white neo-noir touch-supporting cinematic hospital horror game is set to get strapped to our faces on the 25th of April. The game will hit the store at $39.99 US and should provide an estimated 8 to 10 hours of gameplay. This game made my top 5 expected games of this year video, which you can watch by clicking the link on screen now or having a look in the description for a link to this video. This game has so much potential to be a standout title and a great standard for other horror and thriller games to model themselves on. It has atmosphere, a solid storyline, great mechanics, and looking at the GIF on the Oculus site, the game will not only be an exploration puzzle game in the style of Resident Evil's Find a Door and Search for a Key system, but it will also come bearing touch controller combat. So if you've ever wanted to punch the shit out of a gas mask wearing drunken stumbling apparition at the ripe old age of 60, or if you've ever seen those GIFs and pics on Reddit where people have taken out their ceiling lights or turfed their controllers across the room and put a crack-sized crack in their TV screens and thought, fuck, I'd love to do that. Well, this is your chance. So get that pitching arm, brush, shovel, and astounded look of disbelief ready, because we're going and swinging. Also, on the software side of things, Oculus is slowly rolling out the 1.13 update of the Oculus Home software, which comes with further improvements. And I've got to say here, since I've had the touch controllers, the virtual hands have been ever so slightly out, but since this update, the virtual hands are spot on, which is absolutely brilliant, as I'm now getting hand presence close to that of the Leap Motion controllers. And with this update also comes additional content for First Contact, which is bloody awesome, as that experience, in my opinion, is near perfect as it is. And to get additional content at this stage, especially on a bundled title, is fantastic. The Oculus Home update also introduces a public test channel, where people who want to sign up and test pre-release Oculus software to help identify bugs and issues before the software is rolled out to the public can get involved. The update also has additional bug fixes to help with your apparent height in VR, as well as smoother tracking of the Rift headset in general. The downside to this update though is that, confusingly, Oculus haven't released the 1.13 SDK as yet, which means that apps like the Oculus Debug tool and subsequently the Oculus Tray tool have been rendered incompatible until the SDK is updated to 1.13. Though I can't imagine that this would take too long, and Cyber Reality has already posted up on the Oculus forums a temporary link to the updated 1.13 Oculus Debug tool. So if you have been using the debug tool to super sample, like I described in this video here, you can use this temporary download to do that until the SDK is fully updated. And you can check in the description for a link to that updated debug tool. The Oculus Rift had a price drop this week, in Germany at least. The Rift went from €589 down to €499. This was a short-term sale that finished on Monday, so apologies if I got your hopes up there, but I just wanted to mention this because Oculus has said there won't be a Gen 2 headset for another year or two at least. And so seeing these price drops gives me hope for the affordability of the HMD in Gen 1 for those who are sitting on the fence when it comes to wanting a VR headset, but are having difficulty justifying the high price tag of a VR headset. Speaking of price drops, the Oculus Rift CV1 has now passed the 1 year mark. But about the 8-month mark since most of us actually got it. Component shortage. And to celebrate this milestone, the Oculus Store has a handful of games with discounts up to a whopping 80% off, which means that Chronos is an absolute steal, Dreadhalls is a must-buy if you like horror games, and Adventure Time's Magic Man's Head games is finally worth what they're charging for it. And you can check the description of this video for a full list of the games on sale and their relative pricing and discount. And briefly, the Ghost in the Shell VR experience will be coming out later today, which I will cover next week, but looks to be an actual VR experience, not just a 360 video like the teaser trailer that came out earlier this week. The new Gear VR is set for a release of April 21st for $129 US, with the controller costing an additional $39 US. Cheeky. Oh, and John Carmack essentially doubled the resolution of the Gear VR because, you know, fucking John Carmack. I should really spend more time talking about this particular feat of wizardry, but essentially it'd just be me crapping on about how legendary this man is. Man, what an asset to have on the side of VR. And that's this week in VR on the Grid. If you have more you would like to add, then hit me up in the comments below and let's discuss. And if you like this video, then crush that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace! Thanks for watching today's video. Just remember you can follow me on Twitter at facepalm with a 1, not an L. As for here on YouTube, if you like what you find, then like, comment and subscribe. But don't forget to bring your game face. Facepalm out.